All right, so I'm back and I watched the second season of Babylon 5. Um, it's um, it's a tone shift from the first season, but not by much. Dylan, she emerges from her cocoon and she is a half human, half Mimbari hybrid because it's weird. Like, she thinks that this is going to bring Earth and Mimbari together, but it does not, at least in the second season. She is a victim of prejudice from her own people and she loses her place on the Grey Council. And she's a victim of prejudice from uh, humans. And, like, the, that's kind of obvious. But the funny thing is, and I think it speaks to Dylan's character, is she has made this like deeply personal decision to do this, and she thinks that this is going to be like a monumentous moment in human Minbari relations, and the higher ups in Earth don't know anything about it, and the only reason that people on Minbar know about it is because she was one of the seven of the Grey Council, so people know about her, right? This is kind of like if Donald Trump decided to become a, I don't know, half man, half duck hybrid or something like that. You would know about it. Um, but there are some funny moments where she's learning to adjust to her new human body because she's treating it like she would a Minbari body. And I don't know. I kind of get the feeling that maybe it was plot reasons that that was done, but also the even though there is this criticism that the creature design for the Mimbari is not as good as something as like the Narn or the Centauri, the it must take a lot of time. It must have taken a lot of time to put that makeup on and those prosthetics on, and then you have like this little fake ear down here because they have this big bone kind of structure that kind of juts out. So I think maybe it was a kind of plot reasons, but also it was easier just to make the bone structure a little bit smaller and have the actress actually keep her hair. So I don't know. I don't know about that. The other kind of themes in the story are the worsening war between Narn and the Centauri, and the Centauri do horrible, horrible war crimes. And it's weird because the Centauri are supposed to be sort of this metaphor for Nazi aggression and Nazi expansion, though they're quite clearly based on the British Empire. Um, so the metaphor kind of falls apart, but in a way it's good because not like you're not going to have one to one parallels in history. So there's this saying, I don't know who said it, but history doesn't really repeat, it rhymes. So it kind of makes sense with the Centauri. But the weird thing is that among the humans, they create this thing called the Night Watch, which is basically like a volunteer, although I guess they get paid, but it's like the Gestapo, except it's a voluntary organization and you get money if you rat on people. And the beginning, and so this is like between the end of the second season and the beginning of the first season, this Night Watch becomes more and more powerful and is used to like denounce people for kind of disloyal thoughts and kind of complaining about situations. And the weird thing about that is the the members of personnel on Babylon 5, like the staff members, are members of the military. And this Night Watch is like a government sanctioned thing, but it's an independent thing. So it'd be kind of like if, I don't know, members of the American military were also members of the, I don't know, the Ku Klux Klan, and they had like little insignias, or they, I don't know, they wore the hoods or something. So clearly it's a conflict of loyalties, because you can't, you know, what is the saying from the Bible? I forget what the saying is, but there's some saying that's connected to the fact that you can't have two masters because you won't be loyal to either one of them. But the weird thing is that nobody comments on that. So I wonder, the year is like 22065. So I wonder what happened with historical knowledge, right? Because it's only 200 years from our present day. Did they forget about the Nazis? Did they forget about fascism? Maybe things have gone so wonderfully on Earth that they did forget. Although it's Babylon 5, so I don't think things have gone so wonderfully on Earth. I think maybe there was some suppression, and the government of not Babylon 5, but the Earth government is more authoritarian than in our present day. There is a bit about like elections that they have, but dictatorships also have elections, so it doesn't necessarily mean like they're fake elections. So maybe these elections in the Earth Alliance are also fake. Yeah, so that was weird that nobody comments on the Night Watch. The other thing that kind of doesn't make a lot of sense is you have this the Minister of Peace, which is a very Orwellian ministry, but it's basically the Foreign Affairs Department. I don't think it's like the War Ministry or something, but anyway, the Minister of Peace, he comes to Babylon, and he comes to Babylon right as the Centauri have crushed the Narn, and they're expanding their war to their neighbors, and they're trying to take as much as they can. So he comes right at that point, and then the Sinclair, no, Sheridan, sorry. Sinclair's the first season. Sheridan is the second season. So Sheridan, he gives a Narn battle cruiser sanctuary, and the Centauri say that he needs to give it up because they're at war. But Babylon 5 says, Sheridan says, no, you're not going to do it because I promised them safety. You can, whatever happens after they leave Babylon space, that's your deal. It's up to you, whatever. And the Centauri attack, and there's a battle, and the Centauri warship is blown up. But weirdly, before this happened, the Minister of Peace is there to negotiate a non-aggression treaty with the Centauri, which is really, really weird, right? Because and of course, he even says something like, oh, I'm trying to secure peace in our time, right? Like, how do they not know this? Maybe all of this Second World War history has been suppressed. But anyway, they're trying to, or maybe it's an alternative reality where World War II never happened. Oh, that's interesting. Never really thought about that. Although I think there is communism historically in Babylon 5. But anyway, I got a little bit distracted. But so he negotiates a non-aggression pact with the Centauri. But the way that non-aggression pacts work is that you negotiate them before the other party is aggressive, right? So you say, we promise we're not going to fight. We are not going to fight. You can fight any other person, but don't fight us. But the Centauri have already been like expanding and expanding and expanding. And if you're Earth, why would you be like, yeah, okay, whatever. I can see that they wouldn't want a war after they had a war with the Minbari, which was devastating. But yeah, it's interesting because the first season is kind of all about this trauma that people have from their past pain, from past wars and all of this stuff. And this is more like how everything, the trauma prevents you from doing difficult things, which probably happened to France after the First World War as well. Yeah, so I didn't really understand why they would do that. It didn't make sense. And there is, towards the end, beginning of season three, which I started watching, there is something about how Earth Alliance is also kind of connected to the Shadows. Because there's this guy named Martin who is a human, and he has been negotiating since the first season with Londo, the Centauri ambassador, and basically he's done him a whole bunch of favors. And that's an interesting thing too. You can see like Londo kind of slowly losing his soul. Like I don't think that he was ever a good person, but he was more harmless. And now he is beholden to these powerful creatures that he doesn't understand, which is interesting. Yeah, the graphics are a little bit better in the second season. The special effects. All right, so those are my thoughts after the second season of Babylon 5, and I will give you my thoughts after the third season of Babylon 5 in one moment. Bye.